All right, Isaac Harris, we're continuing our draft profile series. The Mavericks have the 26th pick in the NBA draft. We're picking players that will probably be around this range. Some of them may go 20, 18, 19, whatever. Some of them may go 30, 34, whatever. But they'll probably be in the range for the Mavericks. It's a big area. We have one guy today, Patrick Baldwin Jr., just this very interesting prospect that is on the draft boards. 6'10". He has a 7'2" wingspan. He is 230, like his weight at the combine. He's going to be 19 and a half at the time of the draft. He went to Milwaukee in the Horizon League. Only played 11 games there. Fascinating story. The one sentence from both The Ringer and NBA.com. NBA.com's been doing incredible draft profiles. They've been partnering with Synergy, so go check out all their stuff. Skilled jump shooting forward who showed intriguing talent but missed a big chunk of his freshman year in Milwaukee with an ankle injury. And then The Ringer says theoretical mismatch nightmare with size and scoring ability, though the results haven't necessarily been there. Which I think both those sentences together kind of explain him, right? He's like this, the wing that you want, right? Huge size, big wingspan, can shoot the three. We just haven't seen that come together for various reasons, right?
Yeah. So I think one of the bigger storylines for me of this whole draft is the big swings of there are big swings. There's big question marks, the Shaden Sharps of the world, the Marjon Beauchamps.
Yeah.
We talked about, him, Jaden Ivey, but like there's some like Shaden Sharp, Beauchamp to an extent, Patrick Baldwin, like these are genuine saying, Ousmane Dieng, like,
yeah,
what are they? Like what, like you could swing for these guys. And I mean, Ousmane Dieng, we're looking at like the last 10 to 15 games of his season for the Breakers, and we're saying, dude, like that is a swing right there. He looks so good. Patrick Baldwin, a brief background of him. High school, he was 5th overall recruit before his senior year in ESPN rankings. 5th overall in this class. You could go on YouTube right now, look at Patrick Baldwin on YouTube and say Patrick Baldwin high school. There's literally a video from a year ago saying number 2 prospect in the country. Okay. So you look at his stuff before his senior year, and he's literally you look at mock drafts then, he's mocked in the top 3, top 5 in mock drafts before his senior season. So he's going into his senior season of high school. He has offers. These are schools that he has offers from: Duke, North Carolina, Kentucky, UCLA, and a long list of others, okay? Like literally all of the blue bloods, all of the biggest schools you can imagine, okay? Because he's a 6'10" guy. He's Gatorade Player of the Year in his state his junior season. He goes into senior year. He scores 43 points his first game of the season, his senior year. Second game, he dislocates his ankle. So he dislocates his ankle. He sets out the entire year, and then he has this decision. Well, what do? Do I go play for Coach K? Do I play for Cal at Kentucky? Do I play for one of these big schools? No. He's like, I'm going to play for you, Dad, because I'm going to go to Milwaukee and play in the Horizon League to play for his dad. He instantly becomes the highest ranked recruit ever to play in the Horizon League.
For those that maybe international listeners, or even those that don't follow college basketball, what's Horizon League? Why do we keep saying that with like a tone?
It's kind of hard to. I mean, it's just a super small conference. Like think of, a league. I don't even know what it'd be a comp, for Europe or something like that. Of like just a tiny league, a tiny school.
It's like there's the Premier League, and then there's like the. I don't know, like the Mexican League or whatever, like whatever the Tigres playing.
Yeah.
I watched a game there, and I was like, oh, this is a way step down. But
yeah, I don't know the comp for that. So he decides to go to Milwaukee. He decides to play for his dad. He obviously had set out his whole senior season basically because of dislocated ankle. He goes into Milwaukee. NBA scouts are like, what the crap? How we're going to recruit this guy? He's going to be in Horizon League. Is he going to just torch this league because he's so good? He goes in, he struggles to start the season. He re-aggravates his ankle injury. Then he gets COVID. He plays 11 games at Milwaukee. And all of his stats suck. Okay?
Yeah, they're awful.
Like, they're horrible. So now what do you freaking do? Like, we're talking like a year and a half ago, and I wrote down a question. I said, what if he didn't play a single game like Shaden Sharp? Where are we talking about him right now?
Right.
Where is he at on draft boards? A 6'10" guy who is literally a top 5 guy a year and a half ago. And top it all off, his dad gets fired at the end of the season anyway. So now he's going into the NBA. He goes to the combine, and it's like, you know what? This is a moment for you to really help your stock, okay? Because you had a down year. He goes to the combine. Tough showing for him at the combine.
He measured well, right? Like 6'10",
measured well,
7'2" wingspan. All that stuff is great. However,
he had the lowest max vertical of the entire class at the combine who did the max vert at 26.5 inches. 26.5 inches.
That's like my vertical.
Stand invert. He was second, the second worst standing vertical. You look at the 3/4 sprint speed. He was the 4th slowest in that. Like all across the board on all of these tests, like the shuttle run. The shuttle run, as far as the slowest of that, like Patrick Baldwin was 0.01 faster than Drew Timme at Gonzaga. It's like, so you say all that to say, all right, well then he goes to comment and he struggles. He doesn't do well at that, but he measures well. So now he's like one of the biggest swings that you can think of. Like there's some mocks that have him in the 30s. There's some that have him in the low 20s. He's staying in the draft, but he's this 6'10" guy that, yeah, if you swing on him at the end of the first round, there's a world that he hits. But there's also a world that he's a Jabari Parker and he's out of the league in a few years.
Yeah. Well, or just the injuries just catch up to him. So is it all just that injury, or did he really lose a step? Because you watch some of those highlight clips from high school and you can see, like, my comparison for him is Michael Porter Jr. He just looks so much like Michael Porter Jr. in some of the highlights that I've watched. Or like an extremely poor man's Kevin Durant, like a slower footed Kevin Durant. Tough. Because he can get his own shot. He's 6'10". He's got the length. Like he's got all that.
He's got a high release point too.
He's got a high release point on his shot. He's obviously not Kevin Durant. He's or like a poor man's Kevin Durant. But the skills are there, and so you see that he's jump shooter, can defend on the wing. Like basically is a wing that is huge. Like the Paul Georges, the Michael Porter Juniors, like all that. But where is it? Like what is he going to be, and how long is it going to take for him to for us to be able to even see if he's got that in the NBA? It's really fascinating. The availability of him is kind of on one spot though. The Ringer had him at 34. ESPN mocked him at 36. The Athletic actually mocked him at 29. However, Sam Vecini that wrote that Athletic mock, and he goes, I have no idea where he's going to go in the draft. I have no feel. And Sam Vecini's like one of the most plugged in guys. Raphael doesn't really even know where he's supposed to go in the draft either, because it's just so hard to get to nail down any of these scouts on him, because it's just so different. It's such a big swing. Another thing about his story, he was on the USA team, the 2021 FIBA Under-19 World Cup team with Holmgren, Jaden Ivey, and Johnny Davis, like some of the top 10 guys in this class. And they went and they won the FIBA World Cup Under-19s. And he was on that team and was playing 17 minutes. He was playing 17 minutes a game with these guys. Like really a big contributor, supposed to be one of the best guys in this class. And then the ankle injury happens, the weird year in Milwaukee. And so now, Isaac Harris, what do you do?
Man, I don't know. It's why do you take him? Whoever drafts him, we just get the selling pitch to the fan base is, hey, this guy was a top recruit just a little bit ago. He had an unfortunate, everything did, kind of like the Marshawn Beauchamp that we talked about his whole story. It's he had a crazy year. The dislocated ankle his senior year of high school into this crazy year of college of, re-aggravating the ankle injury. He got COVID, only plays 11 games. This nightmare year. His dad gets fired. They lose all these games. It's this nightmare year in this tiny, tiny league. And now he's coming into the league, and it's what is he going to be in the NBA? And it's could a team draft him at 19, 20? Could the Spurs use one of their picks? Yeah, I could see it. Could he fall into the 30s in the second round? I could see that too. But why do the Mavs take him? The Mavs take him if they believe in high school version of him. Yeah. Why does the team take Shaedon Sharpe in the top 10 somewhere? Because they believe in this high school version of Shaedon Sharpe. And if you believe in the high school version of Pat Baldwin, then that's what you're going with. You're saying, hey, a 6'10" guy can get buckets. We can at least bring him off the bench and make him, a spot-up shooter and go from there, see if he can initiate offense, slowly bring him along. Do you think it was all about the ankle injury and all of that? Why do you not take him as everything that's happened? It's he doesn't measure well when it comes to as far as being a fluid athlete and all of that. And it's well, all right, well, what is this, really who you are, or who are you? So
it would be nice if some of the athleticism came back to give you like a glimmer of, okay, this guy can be. But even in high school, he didn't show a ton of athleticism. It wasn't like he was this freak athlete, right? Which is why I kind of compare him to Porter Jr., Kevin Durant. Like, these guys were not the craziest athletes, but they had incredible skills. They had incredible ball skills, incredible shooting skills, all that kind of stuff, and just this frame that can shoot over anybody. And so my thing is the Mavs should take him if they want to take a big gamble on a skill set and tools. Skill set and tools, to maybe he'll turn into a Michael Porter Jr. type, or it can be an overqualified 3-and-D player. I think his defense, people have written about his defense as being better than like what Michael Porter Jr.'s is, so maybe that helps as well. But he could be a 3-and-D player probably pretty early.
Could he be a Cam Johnson? Could he be a Harrison Barnes type? Like, I mean that. Or
I guess he's 6'10". He's bigger than both of those guys.
I know. Or is he like legit Jabari Parker? And it's like, oh, he's that size, but he's kind of slower, and then just doesn't work out.
For the Mavs, though, to not take him, this is not the year to take the gamble, right? I don't know if it's a year for them to take this huge of a gamble, because it might take a couple years to rehabilitate him, to get him back in the right spot, to get him in the right shape, probably, because that athleticism screams to me he might not be in the best shape or the best.
Or he's just out there just chilling. He's like, bro, I already got to.
Or tanking his draft stock because he wants to go to a certain place.
He's like, I have connections to Nico
to play in a certain metroplex. Who knows?
The Mavs, I think it was one of the reporters for the Athletic said the Mavs met with him at the Combine. They met with a ton of people, so it's not like that's the biggest thing in the world. But it's what you said. Why they do take him is you're taking the swing at one of the best players in the draft possibly. Why you don't take him is there's probably somebody that's going to be there at 26 compared with him that you're like, that guy can plug in and play right now.
This is like a more complicated version of the Michael Porter Jr. thing in the draft, right? Like, you're taking it's probably a bigger swing, but it could pay off just as well. So
the same questions are going to be asked about Ousmane Dieng higher up in the draft. 12, 11, 13, 14, all through those picks, teams are going to be asking the same thing and saying, all right, do we take a guy who can play right now, or do we take a swing at a Dieng type and saying, dude, this dude's 6'10", and he could do all these things. It might take some time, but the upside of that, we could take the swing type of thing. So same kind of similar conversation.
It's very interesting. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Also, let us know what you think the Mavs need to add to the roster to go to the finals. Guys, thanks so much for listening to Locked On Mavs, making us your first listen. Make sure to go check out the Locked On NBA Big Board podcast. Rafael Barlow from NBA Draft Junkies and the the NBA Big Board newsletter is joined by Mavs draft Richard Stayman, a bunch of other guys to give fans an in-depth look at the NBA draft, mock drafts, player rankings, and of course, big boards, free and available wherever you get your podcast. Guys, thanks so much for listening to Locked On Mavs.
Peace out.
Boom!